So we finally got the patch notes for Preludes 10, and it's looking pretty decent. However, it was stated that the moat system, which would have arrived in Preludes 10, will unfortunately be delayed to a later one. However, the studio didn't state when, so it could come in Preludes 11 or even a later update. So before we get into the patch notes and everything in Preludes 10, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the like and subscribe button to stay up to date on everything. We go over patch notes, fixes, questing, and pretty much anything got to do with Soulframe. So first off, we have the Crypt of the Circade. So it says, descend into the Crypt of the Circade, a haunted dungeon where the noble once known as the Circade stirs again. Keys to the crypt drop from Banneret and Odin Knight enemies across Midrath. So you pretty much kill these guys, then get some keys, then find the crypt, then enter. So this is an event for this update and will feature a new dungeon, and if I'm not mistaken, this will be the only new dungeon in this update. So we also have a couple of new armor sets. The first one is the Circade, which you will obviously find in the crypt. Then we have the Deceiver's Helm, both the closed and opened one. So it says, those who uncover the festival's deeper secrets may find themselves clad in the Circade's forgotten regalia. So pretty much we can find this armor set in the crypt as well. So we finally have the second weapon slot for sidearms, which is basically your secondary weapon. Envoys can now equip a second weapon alongside their primary in the arsenal screen, mix and match to suit your path. So this is what a lot of us were waiting for, so I'm glad this is finally in the game. So moving on, we have the weapons, which will be your secondaries, which are the Skilter, which looks more like daggers instead of knives, but it says here, this is a knife. So anyway, moving on, we also got the Nettle, which is a bigger knife, then we have the Verdigris, which is the dagger. So these fragments will drop from the Odecaster and ranged hunter enemies. So now we getting into the more technical side, which I love. So we will now have armor stats in the game, which will be physical defense, which reduces incoming damage from physical attacks, such as attacks from a Sinecure's sword or a Mockery's swings. Then magical defense, which reduces incoming damage from magical attacks, such as Sinecure spells or lightning damage from a Banneret. And finally, a stability increase, which increases stability, allowing envoys to withstand more hits before being staggered. So this is how it will look in-game next to your armor stats. Okay, so for now, they say that we will not be able to have armor transmog yet, but a system to customize your look while retaining stats is planned for the future. So next for new players, they will get a new starter weapon for the Pact of Spirit, which looks like a staff of some kind, and the Pact of Courage will get a new hefty training sword, so we can see it properly, but it's a sword nonetheless. Then we also got a new feature with the World Trees, which will act like a social media type of system. So this is cool, but will most likely be something people just not use over time, but maybe they will improve or add something to it in future updates. So we also got the new loadout switching and a new enemy called the Mendicant King. So this looks pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. It looks like this won't be a dungeon boss, but most likely a world boss, and I'm pretty sure these other guys have always been in the game. Then next we have a new armor set called the Mendicant King, and this looks really awesome. So we also have a new enemy and another one which looks kind of weird. Then we get to the system changes and updates. So we have new casting animations, improved running, strafing animations, and attack animations. Improved lifelike breathing and movements, and then spawn rates will scale with the size of corrupted zones in the Glades of Andoran. So we also get new faction quest lines and new rewards and more faction XP, reduces amount of loot boxes but increased rarity, which I'm on the fence with this one. So this is pretty much everything we got. However, they did add more stuff in which wasn't included in the patch notes, such as the health bar being readjusted. Anyway, guys, if you found anything in the game that I haven't mentioned, please add it to the comment section. So if you found this info at all insightful, please hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.